to have the podcasts, the size that they are, the teams, the masterminds, the programs, everything. It's a full-time job to have our personal brands. And it's a second full-time job each, me to have Frello, Lori to have Glōci. And sometimes we say, F it. Let's not do it anymore. Let's retire. Let's create all this space. Let's just sell everything, pay cash for a nice home, and have zero of the pressure. And then we play that movie to the end. And this is where this episode gets important for you.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
And we're back.
Another episode of He Said, She Said.
And we're literally back from Tampa. How awesome was Richay's grand opening of her second med spa?
I think whenever we get to go and be a part of a big dream, and this was her second spot, but how incredibly cool. That means her first one really took off. She worked so hard that it created like an overflow that demanded a second location. And that is so incredible for what she's done. And I know that she has been through highs. I know that she has been through the lowest of the lows. And I think it's such a reminder of what business really is and also how beautiful it is, what you get to do when you really, really grow your dream. Because one of the coolest parts for me there was talking to her whole team and hearing about like how much they loved their job and loved learning from Richay.
The place is so gorgeous. Listen, I know you've probably been to med spas before, but you have probably not been to a med spa like this one.
It's just
called
luxury.
If you're in Tampa, check it out. It's called Bevel Up, Bevel, like level up, but it's Bevel Up. And it's gorgeous, like the fanciest, most beautiful of med spas that you've ever been in. So Richay, congrats to you. We were so honored to fly to Tampa, kind of celebrate you on stage, speak a little bit about the traits that we see you and what makes you such a successful entrepreneur.
And how long has she been a mastermind member?
She's been a mastermind member this is her third year. She's in the mastermind this year, so it'll be her third year. And she's come so far so quick. And speaking of mastermind, it's a good reminder, Lori, thank you. This is your very last week to apply for the mastermind this year. We enroll once a year. You don't get in later. You don't get to get in summer or fall or anything like that. If you want to join our 2025 class, which is the best class yet. I can already tell by who's in there. The most up-leveled, definitely the most successful class yet. If you want to join that 2025 mastermind and get my one-on-one coaching in the form of a strategy session to kick it off, that alone is worth the money. Mm-hmm. And then if you want to get text coaching with me for the whole year, and you get to ask Lori questions as well. But more importantly, if you want to lock arms with the most talented entrepreneurs that you could ever imagine finding in one spot, with 2 in-person retreats where each one is 3.5 days long, one in March, one in October. And if you want monthly calls where the group is problem solving your most current challenge, literally right there on the spot. Listen, this is the most hands-on mastermind at this level that ever exists. And so if you want to join Richay, who we just flew to Tampa to celebrate, and all these other awesome human beings, I'm not kidding. It's not a sales pitch. When I say this is your last week to apply and interview for it, 2 spots left. Right now, hit pause. Go to chrisharder.me/mastermind and click apply. Then we'll jump on Zoom and see if you get one of those last 2 spots. Again, go to chrisharder.me/mastermind. That's chrisharder.me/mastermind. And then go to apply and apply right away. We'll jump on Zoom. All right, guys. So we just got back from Tampa. We had a great trip. We stopped and saw mom and kind of had a Super Bowl party as well.
With your fam.
Yep, in Scottsdale on the way home. And Lori and I were talking, we had a lot of travel time to talk. And we go through these phases. Like, here's just like, let's lift the curtain and talk about what goes through our mind, honestly. We go through these phases where we want to say F it all and sell everything and just retire.
And just save. Like, I don't know, pull back, save money.
Live a simple life.
Yeah, live a simple life.
And let me give you context to this. When I say retire and live a simple life, We could do that right now if we got rid of our entire personal brands and just had all that space. I would go grow Frello and sell it. Lori would go grow Glōci and sell it. And that's all that we would do. And you have to understand the entrepreneur's journey. Glōci doesn't pay Lori 1 single cent, even though it's kicking butt now. And Frello, not even launched yet, taken way longer than we ever expected. That doesn't pay me 1 single cent. Yet we still say, why don't we just shut down the personal brands and all the work that comes with it? Because guys, it's a full-time job to have the podcasts, the size that they are, the teams, the masterminds, the programs, everything. It's a full-time job to have our personal brands. And it's a second full-time job each, me to have Frello, Lori to have Glōci. And sometimes we say, F it. Let's not do it anymore. Let's retire. Let's create all this space. Let's just sell everything, pay cash for a nice home, and have zero of the pressure. And then we play that movie to the end. And this is where this episode gets important for you. You have to know thyself and be truthful to your goals. In other words, you have to really know who you are and what you want to do and how you want to show up. Because when we play that movie to the end, let's just sell it all and retire the personal brands. We say, well, what would we do with all that space? Well, I'd probably get kind of unhappy. I'd probably get kind of bored. I'd say, ooh, I want to bring some people together and have a great weekend full of business conversations. And right, as soon as we go down that path, as soon as we play that movie to the end, we realize we'd be right back to where we are because that's who we are at the core. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the important part. You need to know who you are at the core. You need to be honest about what your dreams are, because some of you are pretending you want to be a multimillionaire and grow these businesses when you were just meant to be a really, really good team member and live a simple life. And that's why you're unhappy. You're falling for everybody else's advice out there that you have to grow this massive multi-million-dollar life, and you don't to be happy. Mm-mm. But then some of you are doing the reverse. Some of you are saying, I'm not going to start that business, or I'm not going to go as far as I can go, or I'm not going to raise that capital, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. Because you think the simple life is a little bit better. And inside you're unhappy and you're unfulfilled and you've got this big calling. And maybe you're saying, well, I can't do it while I've got kids right now. I got to have more time for them. Well, I can't do it. I got to support my husband's dream. Or I got to support my wife's dream. And you're inside so unhappy because you're not being truthful about who you are and what you were meant to be. You know, my mom is a great example. My mom always had an entrepreneurial mindset. We would stay up late at night and dream up business ideas when I was a kid, literally. But she never got to pursue it because she felt like, well, I got to support my dad, who had a very professional career growing up and was gone a lot. And I got to raise the kids and all that. And I know on her truthfulest of truthful days, she completely resents and is sad that she never built a business, hers would have been in psychology, and chased her dreams. There's going to be a day where you can no longer do it. She wasn't truthful to what she was put here to do. And you need to know and be truthful to what you were put here to do, whether that's to live a simple life, stop chasing the big one, or to live a great big unapologetic life and then stop living the simple one, damn it.
And it depends on who you're hanging around too. I think that for a large portion of my life, I was always apologetic for wanting more, meaning I wanted a bigger career. I wanted to do more. I wanted to fulfill on my dreams. I wanted to go and get the things. I wanted to go and create the experiences for other people. I wanted to create the businesses. I wanted to be having the bigger conversations. I wasn't feeling as fulfilled with some of the conversations that I was having with people who weren't thinking big. And I used to feel bad about that. Like, why can't I just be happy with these smaller things, these smaller conversations, and just being fulfilled with what these other people are fulfilled on? And I've just had the realization that we are all different and we are all put here for different things. The world would not be moving in the way that it's meant to if we all did the same thing, if we all wanted to stay in a certain place or stay in our hometown or whatever it is, stay with the status quo of what you've been raised in. There are plenty of people who are meant to do that, and there are plenty of people who aren't. And I think it's the ones who are the, big achievers. And especially, I feel like especially with women, we can sometimes feel like we always have to be apologizing. I felt like I always had to be apologizing to, your family, which they never made me feel that, like, they never said anything specifically. It was in my head that I was supposed to be the one supporting you and having the children. And I always just felt bad that that wasn't where I was at in my 20s and 30s. And so I wish I could go back and say to myself, like, this is who you are. This is what you're meant for. Like, go and run. Let it be okay that you're not like everyone else and that it's going to take you a little bit longer to find that friend group. Doesn't mean you can't hang out with this people. It means that you can love yourself a little bit more while you're hanging out with them, and let it be okay if all the conversations aren't hitting for you, or maybe you feel like a black sheep. That's all right. It's also okay to love people where they're at and find common ground in a different way, because you know that you're going to get your brain lit up by other entrepreneurs when you're around them. I think it's learning how to compartmentalize all of these relationships. I would have had a lot less resentment towards some of my friends and family in the past, and I was creating that. I would have had a lot less resentment being able to compartmentalize what relationships went in what department for me. Like, oh, this is my home team. This is my family. They're going to support my crazy dreams. Like, they don't have to be a part of them and cheer them on, but they can absolutely accept me for where I'm at. Let me go fly, and I can accept myself and let it be okay, no matter what they say, that I go off and do these big dreams. And I think, now, especially that I'm in my 40s, and I see this now with younger generation too, but it's fully accepting that if you're a runner, if you're a creator, like, go and do those things. And instead of toggling back and forth with me going, oh, maybe I should just be happy with that, I play the movie till the end. I literally let myself go, okay, you know what? I went on that 2-week vacation. We went on a 30-day vacation one time to Europe. And you know what happened?
Bored.
I literally was like, okay, well, this gave me all of the space to think of 100 ideas that I want to go do when I get home. And I was like, this was amazing. And now let me go do all of these ideas. And now I want to write 10 books. And like, that's who I am. I want to go teach. I want to go share. So even down to like letting it be okay if you're not a 2-week vacation person right now, if you're not a 30-day vacation person. Like, if you get on vacation, I was listening to Alex Hormozy podcast. He literally went home from a trip like on day 3 because he's like, this isn't fun to me. Like, I want to go and do the things that are fun to me. That's building businesses. And it's really learning to know yourself. Like, what do you really need right now? What feels good? And what do you want to build? What lights you up? Because life will always be stressful. Just choose the stress that actually fulfills you.
So I've got an exercise that you can do. If you hear this, you're like, well, I don't know, which one am I? Am I the one meant for a very small, satisfied life? Or am I the one that's meant for the great big multi-million-dollar huge accomplishment, always chasing something life? Here's the exercise that you do. Pretend, no matter what age you are, that tomorrow you woke up and your retirement fund was fully funded. You had more than enough money to retire on a good, middle class, totally solid, secure type of life. Didn't matter what age you lived to. What do you think you'd be doing and wanting to do 24 months after you found out your retirement fund was fully funded? Not the first 6 months, not the first year, because your natural, if you've been working hard, your natural recourse is going to be, oh, well, I would travel. I'd go to Europe and I'd see the world and I'd do this and I'd do that. And I'd love this time. And I love this space. And I'd do this with the kids and I'd do that with the kids. And I'd do this hobby and I'd learn this thing. It's natural for that to be like your first year that you think you'd do. That's why you imagine your retirement fund being fully funded and ask yourself, what do I honestly think I would be doing in 24 months from that point? That's your answer where you're supposed to go. If you're like Lori and I, my answer is, well, I'd start buying and reselling classic cars, and I'd buy a warehouse and I'd put them in there and I'd be down there every day wrenching on them. And I'd want a small team of people around me too, because it's kind of more fun that way. And, I'd really want to get to the point where I move in, 5 cars a month and then 10 cars a month and 20 cars a month, and being able to drive any of them that I wanted and keep this thing sustainable and profitable. And honestly, I'd want to be one of the coolest, biggest hangouts and classic car resellers possibly out there, like that people could ever come by and visit, almost a destination. That's what I'd be doing 24 months after my retirement was fully funded. And so that's how I know I'm always going to turn it into something big. It's who I am at the core. It's my DNA. I can't do anything else. If your answer is similar, then you know that that's who you are. at the core as well. If your answer is the opposite, if it's, oh no, I would literally still be taking classes, still be making pottery, still be doing this with the kids, still be volunteering here, still be doing that. Well, then you learned that you need to find a way to get rid of any bloat, get rid of any excess, and find a way to get to that retirement life as soon as possible.
I love that.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully that helped. When you have those moments of like, is this all worth it? Should we just sell everything? Should we just retire? What's my real purpose of being here, et cetera? If you have those moments, hopefully these little conversations that Lori and I have help navigate you through those, because it's perfectly normal to have those. And if you want to talk about those things as a group, let me tell you, every year for the 30-some businesses, almost 40 businesses that are in the mastermind, half of them are like, bigger, bigger, bigger. The other half are like, why am I even doing this? And we get to have those conversations with each other as peers. So now that we're at the end of this thing, hit stop, rush over to chrisharder.me/mastermind, click apply, and we'll jump on Zoom. Your business has to be making more than $500,000 to apply. Almost all the other businesses are 7 and 8 figures in there each year. But as long as your business is making at least $500,000 a year, go to chrisharder.me/mastermind, click apply, and we'll chat with you on Zoom. Thanks for listening, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.